So even though the Cup Series is off this weekend due to Easter, because it's the first big holiday weekend, we still had O'Reilly and Truck Series and ARCA East action at The Rock, as finally The Rock is back for another NASCAR weekend for the new Easter tradition. Hopefully someday this track comes back to Cup. Because, even though it's a holiday weekend, somebody's got to fill the void for holiday weekends. And honestly, I really don't give a shit if NASCAR races on holiday weekends. I mean, baseball plays on Easter weekend. Hockey is on Easter weekend. Basketball is on Easter weekend. If NFL was playing right now, they'd be on Easter weekend. So somebody got to fill that void. And you know what? If all the others can go on Easter, why not NASCAR? No excuses. Hell, even if IndyCar, last year F1 even raced on fucking Easter. If IndyCar scheduled it right, they could have raced on Easter too. But they don't race for a couple weeks until Long Beach. And F1 don't race until Miami in May. But anyway, with all that said, let's take a look at how the action fared at The Rock. And see if we can truly smell what The Rock was cooking for NASCAR. In terms of the truck race, the only thing The Rock cooked up was a Corey Haim belt to ass whooping. The truck race was just a Corey Haim masterclass. It's another reason why Corey Haim should be in the 35 car for 2311 instead of terrible Herps. Because we all know fucking Rally Herps couldn't hold Corey Haim's jockstrap if he tried. But Haim dominated this race from flag to flag, won all the stages. I would say win easy. I would have said he would have won easily, but then we had a couple late cautions that kind of bunched everything up. This race wasn't like last year. I mean, last year had fuel mileage, which made it interesting. But fuel mileage was never really a factor in this race, as everything played out to where fuel mileage didn't play a factor. But we did get a battle late, as Caden Honeycutt tried to prevent Haim from winning and stopping the belt to ass whooping. And Honeycutt even got the lead cap on the white flag on the backstretch with a run. But of course, there would be one thing that would cost him. That would be lab traffic, as the lab truck of Tanner Gray would get in the way. As really, Tanner Gray honestly had really nowhere to go. It was simply, do I block Corey Haim or do I block Caden Honeycutt? In the end, Tanner chose to block Honeycutt and go high, leaving Corey Haim the bottom lane to easily pull away in that final stretch and get the win at Rockingham. I mean, I'm not sure what Tanner Gray was supposed to do. I mean, he had really nowhere else to go. I mean, yeah, he could have pulled off to the apron and got out of the way of both of them, but there was really no space to go. Plus, the truck ahead of Tanner Gray, the next truck to go lap down, was for position, so Tanner was still racing for something by the end. But yeah, Corey Haim gets the win, and the weirdest part about this win was that Corey Haim would end up getting the championship lead after Chandler Smith would get disqualified, beep, for failing post-race inspection over some height requirements. So yeah, and here's the weirdest part about Haim being the points leader. He isn't eligible for the Trucks Chase this year because he missed 2 races due to sponsorship issues and was denied a waiver. Man, NASCAR's reason for denying a waiver was to keep with the precedent set with Grant Enfinger 5 years ago. I have a couple questions. Why the fuck do we still have the waiver system for the Chase now? I mean, the waiver system only made more sense when it was the playoffs when we had winning in. But honestly, the waivers serve no fucking purpose with winning in gone and it being points-based now. And honestly, if Haim were to hypothetically miss 2 races, if the 2 races Haim missed, which were Daytona and St. Petersburg, and Haim didn't willingly miss those races. He was forced to miss them due to sponsorship issues. But if those end up being the only two races Haim missed this year and he ran the rest of the season, Haim should be allowed to make the chase if he's top 10 in points. Honestly, we should not need fucking waivers. Just do it by whatever the points cap is, which is top 16, top 12, or top 10 in trucks. based on each series, because like O'Reilly it's top 12 and Cup it's top 16. But yeah, so yeah, there is a hypothetical scenario where Corey Heim this year could win the regular season championship for trucks and not be allowed to make the chase because he didn't run every single race, which is pretty fucking stupid. And also, it's also fucking stupid that Corey Heim doesn't have a full-time ride in any series this year because Heim doesn't have sponsorship and he's not a punk rich kid because of NASCAR's business model being so broken and bullshit. Like, only in NASCAR can you have a record-breaking championship season in trucks and not end up with a full-time ride. The more things change in NASCAR, the more some stay the same. And sadly, this bullshit business model remains the same. Maybe 2311 didn't sue NASCAR hard enough in that whole thing. Maybe they need to try harder. Either that or maybe Corey Heim should look at going either Chevrolet or Ford for a full-time ride. Because Heim 100% deserves a full-time ride. And I don't think he's ever going to get that with Toyota, as long as that beef with Ty Gibbs from ARCA 5 years ago remains in effect. What a shame. Heim deserves so much better. But hey, at least he gets another win to his truck's belt. But still deserves so much better. What a shame. I don't know what The Rock was cooking for ARCA East, but we may need to tell The Rock to get the hell out of the damn kitchen, because out of the 3 races this weekend, ARCA East was probably the worst of the 3, because Tristan McKee just absolutely dominated this race from flag to flag. Was never really challenged throughout this race, even despite some cautions throughout. And for Max Reeves, after he cried like a bitch about being raced hard by McKee last week, what was Max Reeves' response to it? Doing absolutely nothing at Rockingham and being a complete non-factor at the Rock. With Tristan McKee winning pretty handily, so McKee goes on and gets another win for ARCA East. But I mean, the real highlight from this race was Garrett Mitchell, or I should say Cletus McFarland, that is, getting his best career ARCA finish in any of the 3 series with a 4th place finish. So hey, good set. That's honestly some good momentum for Cletus McFarland to take it to its O'Reilly Series debut. And honestly, I think that's a good leadway right into the O'Reilly Series segment, since really ARCA East didn't provide too much excitement out of this. Well, I mean, last year it was the worst of the 3, and this year at the Rock it was the worst of the 3. At least they had a good crowd turnout, though. But of course, most of that crowd turnout is because of O'Reilly Series happening right shortly after the race. But hey, a turnout's a great turnout no matter the circumstances. O'Reilly Auto Parts. And now we get to the O'Reilly Series race at the Rock. As the O'Reilly Series being the main event of Easter's tradition at the Rock, I mean, the Rock cooked a little bit with this race. I mean, really, the first half of this race, Corey Day dominated this race, sweeping the first 2 stages. But, of course, Day's downfall would be on pit strategy after stage 2, where he would end up in the back with some teams flipping the stage late with a late stage caution. They would flip the stage to end up getting track position. And once Corey Day ended up in traffic, he never really recovered after that. And in terms of Cletus McFarland's debut, well, Cletus didn't start off too well, starting 35th. That's not really good when you're in a 3rd RCR car. But hey, as a wise man once said, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And for Cletus McFarland, the race was not much better. He would end up finishing 32nd, 6 laps down. Even had a spin at one point, a couple near spins, even grazing the wall a bit. Even early in the race, making a dumbass move to go 3 wide. All I say to Cletus is, if you're trying to prove everyone wrong that said you're rushing up too soon, this isn't the way to do it. If anything, you probably just gave justification to NASCAR Twitter and proved them right. And honestly, proving NASCAR Twitter right is probably the worst thing you can possibly do. Because that will just make NASCAR Twitter more insufferable than they already fucking are. And some of them even, and some of the boomers even complain about Cletus McFarland going by his stage name and not his real name, Garrett Mitchell. And honestly, who really gives a fuck about that? You think he's the first driver to race in NASCAR but under a different name and not his real name? There have been many drivers through the years that have not raced under their real name. Let me name you some examples. You know, Chase Elliott, his real name isn't even Chase. Chase Elliott's real name is William Clyde Elliott II. So yeah, if you're going to complain about Cletus McFarland not racing under his real name, then you better keep that same energy with Chase Elliott. I know you won't. In fact, that's not the only example. I got a few more I can name. Denny Hamlin, his real name isn't Denny. Denny Hamlin's real name is James Dennis Allen Hamlin. Hell, Tony Stewart, his real name's not Tony. His real name is Anthony Wayne Stewart. Who else can I name? Oh yeah, Dale Earnhardt. His real name isn't Dale. His real name is Ralph Dale Earnhardt. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., you guessed it, his real name isn't Dale Jr. His real name is Ralph Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I got one more example I can pull here. Jeff Gordon. Oh yes. Jeff Gordon's real name is not Jeff. His real name is Jeffrey Michael Gordon. Jeff's just the short form for Jeffrey. And hell, on this channel, my real name isn't C-Rad. Anybody that knows me knows my real name is Conrad. Hell, Space Metal Ferrari 248, his real name isn't Space Metal. His real name is Alex. Or Kamikaze Games, his real name is Dylan. See, there are even many people in the NASCAR community that don't go by their real name. So I don't know what the problem is. Hell, Iceberg doesn't go by his real name. His real name is Jarrett. Or hell, Ultimate 23 Karen, her real name is Mary. So I don't know why you complain about Cletus McFarland not going by his real name, when there are many people and many examples I listed of drivers not going by their real name. Like, if you're going to keep that energy with Cletus, then keep that energy with everybody else that's done it in the past. For Christ's sakes. But anyway, with that quick little rant out of the way, let's get back to the racing. So, through the stage cycle, we would have Allgaier have a shot up, but then Allgaier would get shuffled back in traffic, which then opened the door for William Sawalich to get the lead. And once Sawalich got the lead, he never really looked back after that. As Corey Day, he would fight through the traffic, but would end up recovering to only finish 9th. I mean, Corey Day had the raw speed. He'll have his weight. He'll get his day. It just wasn't today. What a shame. You know, I think one day Corey Day is going to be good enough to go to Cup one day. He's probably going to be Alex Bowman's replacement in the 48 within a year or two. Depends on if HMS wants to kick the can with Bowman for another year or not. It really depends on Bowman's health situation, though. That will tell a lot about when Corey Day comes to Cup. And of course, even despite at the end Allgaier and Brandon Jones' best efforts to catch Sawalich at the end, neither of them can make a run at neither of them can make a run at William Sawalich. And William Sawalich goes on and gets his first career O'Reilly Series win at Rockingham. And that's the first time somebody in O'Reilly Series got their first win at Rockingham since Matt Kenseth in 1998. Has it really? I know Rockingham was off the schedule for like 20 years, but really? God damn. I really feel old. See, yeah, the last time we had a first-time winner, I was barely born. Fuck. But anyway, William Sawalich is now officially a winner in the O'Reilly Series. Honestly, congrats to William Sawalich on the win. I kind of felt like it was coming. He showed some speed late in the season last year, and he finally got his moment. He finally had his first career win. You know, the two-time ARCA East champion finally has his moment in O'Reilly Series. Honestly, good for him because JGR definitely needs to get some full-time drivers that can compete for the title. which they haven't really had that since Chandler Smith a couple years ago, and then Chandler went back to trucks. But yeah, overall, though, Rockingham, though, this race, it was not like last year. Honestly, it was a little more tamer since everybody has more of an understanding of the track now compared to last year, when a lot of drivers went in blind. But honestly, Rockingham did deliver once again, and a great crowd turnout. More reasons why the Cup Series needs to come here. I know some people are against it because the Cup Series short track package, but I think this package would work better at Rockingham compared to Martinsville. Consider that the Cup Series next-gen car usually does very well at tracks with banking, because it's not just Martinsville the car has struggled at. It's like nearly any flat track this car has struggled at. Because Brickyard was pretty meh. Pocono is pretty meh. Loudon sucks. Phoenix is, well, it's Phoenix. Like, usually this next-gen car struggles at fucking tracks with flat with next to no banking. This car even struggles at fucking Gateway. To add on to it, too. Like I said before, I think this car, because honestly, out of the short tracks, I mean, this car did well at Iowa and Richmond. And Bristol, even though Bristol was mainly due to the fucking tire not lasting 50 goddamn laps. I mean, I don't know, maybe it'll work better next weekend with the 750 package. Well, time will tell there. If the tire lasts more than 50 goddamn laps, we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, it could work. I mean, you never truly know until you try. And honestly, I do think it should come to Cup next year. And in terms of what track I think it should replace on the schedule, I've already said this multiple times. I think Rockingham should take the place of the fall Charlotte race. And we only go to Charlotte once a year for the Coke 600. I mean, if you have Rockingham replace the second Charlotte date, North Carolina motorsports fans lose nothing with that, because the date remains in North Carolina, and you bring a fan-favorite track back to Cup from the dead. And plus, we've ran at Rockingham in late October, early November in the past. We've done it before. They can do it again. And plus, for anyone that says, oh, that wouldn't work with Charlotte, bullshit. Coke 600 ticket sales were doing fine when it was the one and only oval date on the schedule. When we had the Roval still on the schedule. Charlotte will do fine if you know how to market it well. Because you know where I stand with tracks with 2 dates. But yeah, that wraps it up for Rockingham. Honestly, delivered once again. More reasons why it should be on the Cup schedule. But yeah, congrats to William Sawalich on the win. Well deserved. Corey Day will have his moment. Just not today. Damn. But yeah, solid weekend for our Cup. Although Ian Perez is probably going to complain about being on Easter because he doesn't like racing on Easter. The funny thing about Ian Perez complaining about motorsports on certain holidays is he only listed 3. He only complains about motorsports on Easter, Mother's Day, and Father's Day weekend. I mean, I can see the argument with Easter, but Mother's and Father's Day, I don't really understand his argument there. I can at least understand the argument for Easter. And the funny thing is, he only complains about those ones, but he doesn't complain about motorsports on these following holiday weekends, and there are quite a few of them. Ready? Here's the list. President's Day weekend. What else can I name? Memorial Day weekend. 4th of July weekend. Labor Day weekend. That one time when we used to race on Veterans Day weekend back in the day. I mean, if Ian wants to complain about racing on Easter, Mother or Father's Day, then he should complain about it on the other 5 holidays as well. Like, no double standards. Either everybody is subject to that double standard, or nobody is. If you're going to complain about it, then do it for all the holidays. Not just the ones that you care about the most and cherry pick. But yeah, honestly, I really don't give a shit about motorsports racing on holidays. Somebody's got to fill the void. And honestly, I'm going to keep saying that until you give me some real legit reasons why they shouldn't. I mean, NFL has Thanksgiving and Christmas along with NBA. And NFL, well, NASCAR won't be on President's Day weekend next year because NFL is going to bully them off because Super Bowl's on President's Day weekend next year. And that might be the new norm going forward. So, yeah. But anyway, that'll wrap it up here. That's all I got to say. See you all for the Cup recap at Bristol, at Kansas in a couple weeks. I'm out.